And today we're going to get out our science notebooks and we're going to try to remember some of the things we've done in science this year. And of course, we'll make a new entry today as well. So I'm going to look at this with you, and as you can see, some of the things are starting to fall out. Let's just you can look at mine if you want, and you can follow along and see how many of these you did, because this is all things we have done this year. First of all, we talked about our hand, and we labeled it my hand and traced it. Then we learned about labeling other things, like the teddy bear when we had Teddy Bear Day. We labeled the eyes, the ears, and the nose. This Rudd had to skip a couple pages. Oh, this one I didn't quite finish because I did mine on a big chart, if you remember, but you should have labeled the parts of an apple. And then we did an experiment with apples. Remember? We cut them so we could see the insides. We let them dry out. Remember, we drew them? Now this is the page where all my pieces are falling out. I had saved some leaves, but they're getting dried out and crumbled. So I still have my seeds from the maple tree. I had drawn an acorn because it's too puffy to stick in, and I labeled oak and maple, but you can see my leaves have crumbled. Maybe I'll go back and draw them just so I can keep them. Dissolving pumpkins. Remember when we did that? We had the candy pumpkins and we put them in milk, water, oil, and vinegar. And then you drew what happened. Remember when we made butter in a jar? In November we did that, and we labeled the jar and the cream, and we had to shake, 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 and then we had butter and buttermilk. Then we did the dancing popcorn experiment. Isn't it great that we have this all written down? So someday if you say, hey, remember that thing we did? You can show mom and dad in your book. Then we talked about living and non-living. And we decided that no, a snowman was not living. Why? It doesn't move, it doesn't grow and change, it doesn't breathe, and it does not make more just like itself, and it does not need food and water to live. But we decided a reindeer, yes, is living because it moves, it grows and changes, it breathes. It makes more just like itself, and it needs food and water to live. Then you did a sort. I've only done a couple, but yours were full. I saw some of them. Living and non-living. And you had to decide the tree and the bug are living. These, I think, are little gingerbread cookies. And they're not. Then we did where snow melts faster in January. Remember you had to find 2 places in your house to put it? And we decided that snow was not living. And then we talked about animals in winter. Isn't it exciting how much we've done? And then we talked about, I'm trying to think. I'm looking at it, and it's about snow. And I think it was, we were looking at snow, so it was white, it was cold, it was wet. And I think, I'm trying to remember again, I think there were 2 things. We had snow and not snow. I can't remember. Maybe you can. Then we did the ice fishing experiment. Remember with the string and the salt, and you had to pick up the ice cube? That was one I really liked. And then we had to figure out how Arctic animals stayed warm. So you put your hand in the plastic, and if you put it in the ice cubes with the plastic on it, it was very cold. But if you covered your hand with butter, or I think we used like, my mind isn't working, some kind of a lard or Crisco, that kind of fat made it so our hand was protected and we could keep it in there. I found that interesting. This one's the prettiest one. Remember the walking rainbow? And then we had to see how our pennies would float. Can you believe all that we've done this year? Well, Your next page is going to be to draw the life cycle of a chicken. Okay? Now don't worry. I know we only talked about it once. This is something that can help you. If mom or dad want to freeze the screen when you go to write in your notebook, you can use this. Do you have to use it the same, do exactly the same? You absolutely don't. I wrote at the top, chicken, because that's the life cycle we're talking about. And what was part 1? You know what? I think I'm going to add a 1 to this. I forgot. I will put 1. So step 1 was the egg. That's an easy one to draw, isn't it? Step 2. See how I made the little chick inside the egg? And I wrote chick grows. Because a lot of the time spent in that egg, that little chick is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We can't see it. I made a little peeky there so that we could imagine it. So the chick grows in the egg. Then, number 3, the chick hatches. There he is peeking out. And the chick will grow and grow until it becomes, number 4, an adult. Do you see how I kind of made the chicken this way? It almost looks like my hand, doesn't it? And I added its beak and the red thing on its head and a wing to make it look a little bit more like a chicken. So remember, it's a cycle. That's why I have the arrows. The egg, and the chick grows, and the chick hatches, and it grows into an adult, and the adult lays the egg, and the chick grows in the egg, and the chick hatches, and it grows into an adult, and the adult lays the egg. It keeps going like a cycle, and that's why it's called the life cycle of the chicken. So I think moms and dads could freeze this. But you know what? Some of you might say, I think I can do it. I'm going to start by maybe making the pictures. I'm going to move to the next empty page. There it is. Now, you can choose, I don't want to talk too long. Let's see. You can choose to use the whole page if you want. I just might. And over here, I would start with number 1, the egg. Then down here, I'm going to need a little more color, aren't I? I'm going to make the egg, and I'm going to make an opening here and draw the chick. So it's like I'm peeking in, and I'm going to write oh. The chick will grow. That's number 2. Now if I want, over here, if I want to make a really cute little hatching, I could take up both pages, couldn't I? So there's my egg. Oops. And of course I'm going to make the chick, but I'm going to wait till I get some yellow because I want to do a good job. So I would write that it hatches. And then up here at the top, I will make my adult. And one of the most important things after you're done is to put in the arrows so we can see that it goes in a cycle. So maybe in here I'll put chicken. Now, after I turn off the video, I'm going to go back and color it because a scientist would use the real colors. I'll tell you something. There was some years that I hatched chicks, and I had an incubator, and when I went into school, I knew it was the day that those chicks were supposed to hatch. So I went in and I was waiting to see these little yellow chicks. And when I opened the incubator, they were all black. They were the cutest little black chicks. But boy, did they surprise me because I was expecting yellow. And I'll tell you something else. The next year, I had some yellow and some black. So when you make your chick, you can decide they're not all yellow. Are they ever purple? No. That wouldn't be a good scientific color. But yellow or black, or some of them have a little bit of yellow and black and a little brown. You decide, all right? So if you want to use this to help you as a scientist to record the life cycle of the chicken, you may freeze it and do it the best way you can. Have fun, boys and girls. I will see you on Monday.